Hello. Here we are, the three of us back again. Normally, in brilliant circumstances, as I said a couple of minutes ago, we're getting ready to talk about the Conor McGregor fight. Sean Sheehan and I were moments away from recording the SevereMMA podcast, and then he said, something happened to Dos Anjos. I said, no, don't know why. And he's like, Petey just tweeted something happened about Dos Anjos. And that turned into, oh dear God, something has happened to Rafael Dos Anjos. Petey, you're officially the worst man in the world.
Fuck you, Petey.
I'm back. I don't know what happened there.
Well, you're with us now. We can still see you.
Alright, okay. Go, sorry.
This is on swimmingly, isn't it?
This is going very well already. There's definitely something up with the internet or technology. It's conspiring against SevereMMA today.
You see me, yeah?
If you can't see us, Pete, you can leave the chat and click the link that I sent you a second ago on Facebook and just rejoin it.
Just green screens everywhere.
Excellent. Well then, I suppose if you click out of it and come back in, we should be okay.
Can you hear us?
He's gone. Sean, your immediate afterthought. I heard it. I heard it live. You were heartbroken.
Yeah, well, like a little bit, obviously. Oh, hold on, Petey's back. Hello, Petey. Yeah, look, this has happened before. You know, it happened with Aldo. You know, a couple of weeks out from the fight. As I said, as you said there, we were just starting the podcast. I saw Petey tweeted it, and Petey said something about Anahisa. And when you hear Anahisa, you kind of, as Petey was saying earlier, you know exactly what's going down. She's usually spot on with it, and within a couple of minutes, Ariel had it up. So, look, disappointed, obviously, and I'm disappointed because I'm someone who's always looking forward to super fights. Like I want to see that, you know, TJ Dillashaw, DJ, or Dominic Cruz, DJ, and John Jones versus the heavyweight champion, all them. Like, super fights don't come around very often for one to be taken away like this, especially, you know, obviously Conor McGregor, us being Irish and stuff, Conor McGregor is a huge part of it. But yeah, a bit sickening now to be met with that today.
Pete, Sean is coming at this from a super point of view, but I want to pitch it towards you from a spectacle point of view. Dos Anjos was the fight nobody really wanted at 155. He was the champion, and it just so happened that Conor wanted his belt. Obviously, people would have preferred if Cerrone had beaten him. Some people even thinking that Conor fighting Nate Diaz would have been a better option, and these are the two names that are the front runners, maybe that could step in short notice to replace Rafael Dos Anjos at UFC 196.
Yeah, the fight, the whole thing about UFC 196 was hinged on that super fight, on the fact that Conor would make history, and now that's off the table. But as we saw before, UFC 189, as it's, even though it seems like it's the end of the world when these things come out first, we quickly acclimatized the idea of Chad Mendes stepping in, and everyone got plenty excited for that before it happened. And we nearly forgot that Aldo was part of the story in that fight week because there was so much talk and back and forth and stuff. I think Diaz is the man that comes in and saves the day here. I think he can really focus everyone on the task at hand and make people forget about the historic aspect of the fight. I think the two have a great chemistry together. They'd sell the fight, you know, to everybody, and as well the matchup, the stylistic matchup would play into McGregor's hands. So I don't see why he wouldn't want that fight. And Diaz would captivate us all like he usually does. You know, he doesn't even need to do anything usually, and we all just dying to see him. So I think he's the man for the job, especially after Cerrone lost to Dos Anjos and he stepped up to 170 now. I just think it's a quicker sell getting Diaz in.
And more hits on my interview since Conor roasted him in it. That's what we want.
That's what we want.
Look at that. There's rain being made here.
That internet money.
Woohoo! Drowning in likes.
Those 89 cents from ad views, that's what everyone wants here.
That's what we're after. What do you think the whole, like, for me, I'm not gonna lie, it's an easier pill to swallow than the one that we had a little bit worried about in terms of Aldo the first time, partly down to the fact that I haven't booked my flight yet. So there's always the chance that, I'm not saying that from the point of view, because there's undoubtedly hundreds if not thousands of Irish that are already making their way over and will be making their way over, but even now, since I've started talking to you, I'm kind of flip-flopping, and I'm thinking Conor is going to try stay on this card regardless.
Yeah, I think he probably will. Like, you know, McGregor, the last time when this happened as well, he could easily have pulled out, and that time he wasn't the champion. Like, you know, at least now he has the featherweight belt to fall back on. You know, he really, you know, he has everything in his hands. So it's his decision now, really. Like, my first reaction was, okay, he's probably going to fight in the card. He's probably going to look for a replacement, because that's kind of just what Conor McGregor does. But I think he'd probably be better off. I think he'd probably be better off for everyone, apart from the people obviously travelling over to see him. If he just pulled out of the fight, if the UFC pulled him out and had the Dos Anjos fight on UFC 200, but I don't think that's going to happen. Pete said there, Nate Diaz, more like that's the likely one. I'd say Ariel said Frankie Edgar's unavailable. That would have been a fight like I would like to see if 155 on short notice. Other names, Michael or Anthony Pettis, maybe
Tony Ferguson.
As you made a good point there, one of you made it about, I think it was Pete, about Cerrone moving up to 170. He only fought at 170 2 days ago, so maybe getting back down to 155 is not going to be, like, he looked physically a bit bigger as well. He's put on a bit of muscle and stuff. Getting down to 155 might be a bit tough, so you never know what's going to happen. But what about a wild card? What about Robbie Lawler? What about that? What about the welterweight title being put up on the line on 2 weeks' notice?
Give him 5 million. Give him 10 million. Whatever it takes.
Is there any chance?
Yeah, that would be mental, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think even when I was talking to George Lockhart there after, when the fight was announced to 155. Now I know, like, he probably doesn't play into the decisions Conor made, but he was saying, like, you know, there would have to be a bit of a more build-up period to that weight than usual. You know, he'd want to fill him out a bit more before he got up to 170. You know, I don't know if that would play into a decision if UFC came to him and said, listen, we have Robbie Lawler here. I'm sure he'd probably take it, because, you know, as I said, I wrote an article about it a couple of weeks ago. You know, I think Lawler is, with him on top of that division, is McGregor's best chance at winning that belt. You know what I mean? Like, in a perfect situation with him, just stylistically, it's going to be, you know, them meeting the octagon and exchanging blows, and that's a matchup that suits McGregor down to the ground.
I think one of the, like, in all of this, the thing that's upset me the most, Sean, right before we started the podcast, I was about to clamour on about the wonderful news about Shane McMahon returning to the WWE last night, and then this. Petey, get that hand out of your face. Here comes the money. Look, it's on the same topic.
He's my favourite ever.
Oh, without a doubt. But look at it from the dream case scenario here. Sean, give me your take first. Within the next couple of hours, this gets resolved. We get a definitive answer in terms of entertainment value. Conor making the most money, whatever the areas that he will take into consideration about deciding if he fights or not. Where do you think that leaves us?
You know, knowing him, knowing everything that's gone in the past, I think he will stay in the card, and I think it'll be Nate Diaz. And as we were discussing the first iteration of this before your computer fucked it up and we had to restart. Like I was saying to Pete that this card is, you know, it's one of those big cards that UFC put on, maybe 4 or 5 of them a year, where there's lots of promotion, lots of money gone into it, and they need to draw. So you need a big name, and you need someone who can draw, and someone who can be a rival for McGregor. So, like, Nate Diaz is the one who fits that bill more than anyone else probably at this stage. You know, how many pay-per-view buys will that do along with Home and Rousey, or Home and
Tate?
Probably close to 800, 900,000 maybe.
And you can guarantee them tickets to be sold in the MGM Grand as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's probably what I'd be. That's just a fun fight. Like, that's just fun as shit. You know, I think that's a pretty easy fight for McGregor to win. You know, compared to Dos Anjos, obviously Dos Anjos is a tough matchup for him, but that Diaz fight is a pretty easy fight. It's kind of a keep busy fight, and maybe they can get the super fight going for UFC 200 again.
Well, Pete, go on.
Like, I mean, just to get up there and fight at that weight would even tease the RDA fight more. Like, I think, Sean, you were saying RDA at 200. That's exactly what he's going to be looking at now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That, I think it's kind of like, it's not as much like the Aldo one. I don't feel the same despair that we had when it was Aldo the first time, because that was the first, you know, Irish UFC title, so it meant a lot more at the time, I think. But You know, I think RDA at 200 makes perfect sense. He has a fight now, establishes himself in the lightweight division, then he goes up. But I think the problem that exists with that is a lot of people are going to be saying, "Oh, well, you know, he hasn't defended the featherweight title. He needs to, he needs to drop that title. He needs to vacate the title." But you know, I said anyway. I think he was the same idea. You know, we anticipate him go up to 55, have the two belts, and then possibly like. I didn't think he was ever going to fight a featherweight again. You know, literally just hold them belts simultaneously
and then drop one for a picture.
yeah. Like, he's literally killing divisions. You know what I mean? Kind of, when you think about it, because now all these lightweight contenders are going to have to wait again, really, because the UFC are still going to want that history-making fight. Like, Conor is the guy. He's their star at the moment. They're going to want to give him the opportunity to make history.
I think if we look at maybe even skip past this event, so regardless of what happens here, it kind of puts Conor's plans of maybe, unless, as we said, the unlikely happens and somehow he fights Robbie Lawler next week for the 170-pound title, you're kind of moving away from Conor's own plans of fighting Robbie Lawler at 170 in the future, maybe UFC 200 for the title, and then when he spoke about East Coast or Dublin from there on afterwards for his fights. So in my head, why not do Conor fights someone at 155 now, Dos Anjos at UFC 200, and then they go to Boston later on in the year and try do a stadium or a bigger show or somewhere on the East Coast of America that they can get a big number in for maybe Conor McGregor versus Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, and I think the fact is,
Crow Park. Oh my God! How did no one think of it?
Who?
There's a Crow Park, the big stadium where all the GA matches happen.
That's good. That would be lovely in winter.
That's a great idea. Or Thomond.
But I think Conor, the more he fights now, the more we're going to see, like, every single event he's going to be part of, if he keeps winning, is going to be like UFC 200. If you get me, scale-wise, I can see, you know, if he keeps winning, it keeps getting bigger every single time. He's going to become more of a draw each time. So, I mean, after UFC 200, he fights Lawler. If he keeps winning, you know, that has the potential to be, like, you know, a massive show again. So, is
there any chance that, like, he's changed now since he has the titles, and he will only take, you know, he'll only take those big fights. He'll only take big title fights. Like,
I think he'll just take big money fights, regardless.
Okay, Nate Diaz will be a big money fight, but it's not as big a money fight as the Dos Anjos fight. Like, I don't think that's the situation, but it might be. Like, you know, he's in a place now where he's, you know, like, it's not that he wants the upper hand in the UFC, but he's in there, you know, he's doing what's best for him, and maybe what's best for him isn't taking a fight in short notice. Maybe Nate Diaz can't take the fight. Maybe, you know, maybe he's left with someone like Tony Ferguson or something like that, and maybe that fight won't draw as much. I know McGregor is the draw, but, like, there's all these things to take into consideration. You know, I think we'd all agree that he probably would want to stay on the card, but I'd say we'll have to see.
The best part about it is that we're going to get an answer, I'd say, within 24 hours. So we're going to know for definite, because the UFC 196 media conference call was meant to be tomorrow evening. So surely they're going to want to have an opponent on that in case they're going to have one for Conor. And I think I saw in the email as well that there was an open workout tomorrow as well in LA that Conor was meant to be doing as well, along with Dos Anjos. So maybe even Dos Anjos will be there. Better be on crutches, otherwise the Irish fans will call foul.
I wouldn't mind, like, some WWE aspect to this workout tomorrow. Like, maybe McGregor's in the ring doing a few spinning kicks. Next of all, someone just explodes out of the canvas.
Yeah, Kane.
He's fighting Kane. He's fighting Kane. And then, you know, that's the way to do it. If you ask me.
Yeah.
Ask me.
What about all the people travelling over to Las Vegas? How nervous do you think they are now with all their flights booked and everything?
We haven't heard as much, man. You know, usually when this sort of thing happens, you're just hearing endless stories. Oh, I've booked the flights, I've done this, I've done that. I haven't heard any of that yet.
No, there's not too much floating around on Facebook. There is a couple of guys that say, like, and actually, Sean Sheehan, you've an accountable SevereMMA listener on your case on Twitter at the moment. You advised him to go to 196 instead of 200, and now look where you've got him.
Oh, my bad.
He gets to see Diaz. Great.
Yeah, you get to see exactly Nate Diaz. And he's one big fight. But isn't it a pity Frank Edgar's injured? That would have been the best. But I don't know. like it would have been perfect as well, as you said. I don't think McGregor's gone back down to 145 either. It would have been perfect if he could fight Frankie Edgar and kind of get rid of that, off his back. That's going to be around until he fights Frankie Edgar, but obviously that's not going to happen now.
Why would Edgar fight him at lightweight after the build up that he has towards that title? I think the title is something that would motivate him. I don't think moving up to 55 only to go back down to 44 suits Frankie at all at this stage.
Yeah.
The one thing about it though is that if anything's going to come from maybe this happening again in the future for Conor McGregor in terms of opponents getting injured and pulling out on short notice, there is a handful of guys at any division now that are willing to step in on short notice and fight him. And it's because there's still that perceived question out there about how either easy he is to beat, how he's gotten lucky, how he's been given hand-picked opponents, different stuff like that, and maybe the chance to get incredibly rich on a short notice fight in 2 weeks' time.
Neil Seary would fight him on 2 weeks' notice.
Neil Seary would fight him for the laugh, like.
you go down to Cardiff Saturday night, he'll fight anyone. You know what I mean? Topless fighting for people.
There's loads of people saying on Twitter, I wonder what you think. I think it's not going to happen, but a lot of people are saying maybe a interim lightweight title.
No way. Like, Dos Anjos just defended it in December, and unless I don't know, unless the UFC really are going to bend over backwards for Conor, I can't see them doing an interim title. It would I could see a fair enough reason with it for the last one.
Yeah.
And that was okay. I could buy that one, I could accept that one. But on this one I think it'll be a little hard to sell.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
Interim doesn't make any sense here. You can't do it. You can't just because the champion's injured doesn't mean let's take his belt off him. I think Aldo's last fight before he eventually fought McGregor was October 2014 against Mendes, so it had gone over a year. It made sense. Do you know what I mean? You can justify it. You can, at least it's an excuse. But with this, you have no excuse. You can't do that.
Yeah, and I think last time as well, it made sense for Chad Mendes to take the for the belt as well, because if Mendes beats McGregor, there's no guarantee that he's getting a title shot, and I think it was for him as much as it was for McGregor that time. So yeah, this time it just makes no sense really. McGregor has his belt. Nate Diaz, probably won't be getting one.
I think I'm all in on Tony Ferguson having this fight, lads.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
That's
because he called him out.
Best mates, though.
What?
That's because he's our best mates after UFC 180.
Yeah. Well, look. Thankfully, you said it, not me. I wouldn't go as far as saying that, but if the outside people are assuming that we're best mates, then I can't comment on speculation. Unfortunately, my personal friendship with whoever we're talking about.
I'm outside now, aren't we? Jesus.
What? No, I just mean you're not here beside me, like, so that's all I mean. People outside my circle of trust with me and Tony Ferguson. Why is Jeremy Potter here? Get out.
Yes, Potter.
Hello, Potter. How are you?
I'm not. I'm just been crying.
Are you just up? Are you just out of bed?
I woke
This is
up.
worse than Gareth A. Davies.
I'm crying. Just don't know what to do right now.
That's some barnet you have.
Taribo-esque going around there.
Like the worst day ever. Andrew, it makes it even worse.
Come here, Scoop McGee. Where the fuck were you on that one, dipshit?
I was sleeping like a mofo, dude.
Woo! Diaz. Who'd you think? Diaz. It's got to be Diaz, right?
God, dude, I don't know. Part of me hopes it's Robbie Lawler, right? Because that guy's fat right now, and Conor could just weigh whatever he's weighing. I don't know, man. I would make it not a 155 fight. That's the easiest way to get a bunch of dudes to agree to fight. Anywhere between 155 and 170, you'll have a lot of guys. I mean, but Donald Cerrone is if we really have to have a guy that's going to make 155, it's probably Donald Cerrone at this point. I don't know. My brain hurts so bad. I'm so sad.
Yeah, I was just saying to the guys that George Lockhart was saying that he'd want more of a bigger build up to 170. He was going to go there, but I mean, he'd hardly play into that decision, would he, Jeremy?
I don't see him going 170 permanently right now.
Jeremy Potter, have you got headphones?
I think PT needs headphones.
Yeah, I do somewhere.
That's okay. Just turn your laptop down a little bit because I can hear myself.
That's really loud. My bad. We don't want to hear you. So. Perfect.
So continue.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to make a fight for the 170-pound title right now. That'd be some pretty amazing magic matchmaking. So I think your best option is probably a Nate Diaz or a Donald Cerrone, somebody along those lines. Maybe they'll surprise us with somebody that I'm not thinking of. All I can think of right now is about how I hate the sport sometimes, man. Like, wake up to the worst news. This is so stupid.
To be fair, I think if we could share, I see Pizza, you have a glass. If we could just raise a glass, please, to Ryan from Paradigm Sports Management, who undoubtedly has to wake Connor to tell him about this news in the next couple of minutes, because that's definitely not something that would be taken lightly.
Hi, Jeremy.
They wake, like,
is there any chance they pull McGregor from the card and move Nasanya's fight to UFC 200?
I mean, that's an option, right?
Yeah. Well, McGregor probably won't want to pull from it.
Do they? They don't remove McGregor from the card. He's gonna want to fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he fights somebody. I'll fight him for 10 grand.
CM Punk?
That's the story. Another media member needs to step in to save the day.
What's Mike Jackson at next week?
Look at this hair. This is the guy who will fight for. Really?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I just keep going back to your picture on this video feed, Jeremy, because I'm looking at your hair so much.
Yeah, this is how much I love you guys. Is that Sean sends me a DM while I'm asleep, and I roll out of bed, and I get on the video chat with you.
Saying, click this link.
Knowing that people are
hot guys on cam, click this link.
Yeah.
Jeremy's taking my place. I have to get out of here.
Well, there we go. In fact, it looks like we are going to have to wrap this up regardless, because Sean, you and I have a date to record the SevereMMA podcast.
Indeed we do.
Jeremy made that magical though. Can I just say that was a moment in time when Jeremy became live on this chat.
It was the best.
It was outstanding. Either way, no matter what happens over the next 24 hours, we can cross our fingers, our toes, our legs, everything, and we hope that Connor stays on the card. If not for entertainment value, but for the thousands of Irish fans that have already paid for flights, booked accommodation, and things like this that happen, maybe if Connor did get pulled off the card, could maybe put people off from booking long distance flights, long events, far in advance sort of thing, and could put the overall Irish attendance off. Final summary from all of you is, give me a prediction. What's going to happen? Are we going to be happy or are we going to be sad? Start with you, Sean.
I think we see McGregor versus Dada 5000. That's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen. Yeah. McGregor versus Nate Diaz is probably going to happen. McGregor going to knock him out in the first round.
Peter?
Yeah, I'm going McGregor Diaz as well, and the most epic shit talk of all time. The greatest trash talking of all time in the lead up to the fight. We're going to forget all about the super fight. Leave that for UFC 200. Don't know what Connor's going to do about the featherweight division if they wait that long. Who cares? That's what I think is going to happen.
Jeremy?
Well, first of all, I think Pete's high on something already today.
I'm just playing life.
Secondly, I think it's going to be McGregor. I think that's the guy who will fight anybody. I think you're looking at McGregor Cerrone. Also, I predict that your podcast today is completely utter shit.
Hopefully someone heard that, because I couldn't get a word of that.
I heard it. You just said your podcast is going to be shit.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for that. And as always, hopefully the next time we see each other in a live video circumstance, it will be with a little bit better news discussing who Conor McGregor is going to fight next week at UFC 196. Until then, keep all things Jeremy Botter doesn't really matter, but all things SevereMMA related. The SevereMMA podcast is coming later on. We will discuss it more in depth later on. Jeremy, just give that there. Good man. See you later.